G'day guys and that one singular girl watching this channel who probably isn't even a girl. In a universe full of constant war, suffering and memes, it's easy to lose sight of what victory really looks like. Sure, it's a victory when Horus died or when the Ultramarines cheese another random win, but those victories are short-lived and very costly. It seems like most of the factions are on the brink of annihilation as they constantly clap each other's cheeks. So whenever you bring up the potential victory of your favourite faction in 40k, it's likely your fellow basement-dwelling virgins will laugh at you before continuing to obsessively paint their overpriced pieces of plastic. But not me! I go where the virgin dare not, as that is my role as a Chad in this world. Through my terrible knowledge of the lore and obnoxious theory crafting, we will look at what victory looks like for each of the factions within Warhammer 40k. Before we get to that, the store for Major Kill 50k hoodies is live and there's about 20 hoodies left to grab. With me being demonetized as balls right now, this is a great way for the channel to continue to be supported, as well as provide some extra value to you guys. Give it a look and let me know how you go. Whilst no one will ever truly win the clusterfuck gangbang that is Warhammer 40k, due to the fact that it would literally just end the franchise and bankrupt Games Workshop, it doesn't mean that we can't see and understand the victory conditions of each of the main races. For extra fun, each race and faction has more than one set of victory conditions. Sometimes those conditions contradict to each other, but you know, that's 40k for ya. Today we will look at what each of those victories look like for each of the main races, as well as how they could achieve them. Let's get into it. Starting us off with something a bit vanilla, we're the Imperium's winning conditions. Now the Imperium has multiple potential victories because of how many different sub-factions there are, as well as the fact that it's unlikely that over a sextillion to the power of 10 people would all want the same thing. However, they all revolve around one key distinctive outcome: beating Chaos like I beat Timmy. So currently it seems like the most likely victory for the Imperium will come from everyone's favourite mechanical hentai monster, Belarius Cole. If he is able to reverse engineer the anti-warp Necron pylons and then mass produce them, the Imperium will be able to seal off not just the Great Rift, but also the Eye of Terror, and even the warp itself, resulting in the eventual total separation of the warp from real space, and the complete extinction of Psykers. Now this would have many negative repercussions, such as the permanent death of the Emperor, the loss of the ability to warp travel, and the Imperium losing Psykers and their armies, and there being absolutely no afterlife, which is terrible. However, this is likely a small price to pay to avoid getting soul molested by demons. Alternatively, if they don't want to regicide their Emperor or lose the ability to travel places, then using the pylons to seal the Great Rift and then shrink the Eye of Terror would be a good middle ground. Chaos would continue to exist and be an issue, but no way near as bad as it is now. With the threat of Chaos neutralized or minimized, the remaining Xeno races would likely rapidly fall to the Imperium, as they could invest the majority of their armies into wiping them out or subjugating them. Maybe they could even recognize the Emperor's dream of obtaining unlimited amounts of big titty elder girlfriends. Another path to glorious victory would be the resurrection of the Big E. Currently there is a few proposed methods to achieve this, however that would require a video in itself. Let's just say that a bunch of toaster bangers revive the Big E, Rowboat Girlyman style. Big E gets up and says enough is enough and then goes to town on the galaxy, potentially reviving his Webway project and moving mankind out of real space. If his Webway project is unfixable, then having the Big E back on the playing field would likely be enough to absolutely emasculate the Xenos and make Chaos go running back to their daddies. With or without the Big E, the Imperium can actually win, or at least beat back Chaos long enough for the Tyranids to swoop in and eat everyone. On to the faction that everyone pretends to hate but secretly wishes Major Kill would commission more hentai for, the Eldar. Also, shameless Patreon plug, for only $1 a month you can get access to dozens of exclusive custom-made Warhammer hentai. Terms and conditions apply. Out of all the races, it looks like the Eldar are most likely to one day achieve their victory, as any improvement over their current situation is definitely a victory. They have two distinct paths. Firstly, and the more likely one, is the awakening of Yened. When Yened awakens, it is likely he will go off and kill Slaanesh, freeing the souls of the Eldar race and allowing them to unlock their full potential. So the issue is that the Eldar have either nerfed themselves by becoming hyper-disciplined to avoid Slaanesh's slutty gaze, these being the Craftworld or Exodite Eldar, or they have cut themselves off from the warp entirely, such as the Dark Eldar. With Slaanesh Gorn, the Craftware Elder can unleash their full power and also reproduce like normal people, whilst the Dark Elder will be able to reactivate their Psyker powers, hence regain the ability to use a lot of their old overpowered Psyker tech that they have lying around. This reawakening of the Elder will result in their military might and population exploding, allowing them to retake countless worlds and return to power. The Elder will likely not want to reforge a massive empire, but that's okay. A victorious Elder is an Elder who isn't in an eternal state of getting their soul molested. Alternatively, the Elder can reforge the Shards of Khaine and let their uber pissed off God of War genocide the entire galaxy, but that's probably not the best idea because Khaine is a massive asshole. Now on to the big bad. Are they even the big bad anymore? I mean, Tyranids seem way scary at this point. We have Chaos. Chaos victory is a bit of a paradox, as even if they win they still lose. Let's say Abaddon takes over the galaxy and destroys the Imperium and all Xeno races that oppose him. While this sounds like a victory, Chaos will quickly break into 4 distinct factions and begin fighting again. They will ravage each other for thousands if not millions of years, until only one Chaos God remains. In this case, that Chaos God would quickly go insane and burn out due to having lost their fuel source as well as their purpose. So military domination is actually something Chaos doesn't want. Honestly, the state of the galaxy is a victory for them. Constant war, suffering, schemes and decay is the theme of the party, and that is how Chaos likes it. It's called the Great Game because that's all it is to the gods of Chaos. A game. If the game comes to an end, so does Chaos. Hence pat yourself on the back, Chaos players. You've been winning since the day the old ones got too frisky with the war. The anime Marxist commie blueberry vag-head bastards have pretty straightforward victory conditions. Make the galaxy communist, and form a multi-species government that will all follow the greater good. Pretty straightforward and sounds quite good on paper. Their victory would push away reliance on the warp and usher in a golden age of technology based on efficiency and community. All Xenos would work together in harmony or got turned into garden fertilizer. Honestly, this seems like a great result for everyone. However, we all know that those commie bricks can't be trusted. Death to the town! Despite looking like metal undead skelly boys, Necrons have 2 very different distinct victories, and they are quite original to be honest, at least the first one is. Firstly, we have the path of the Silent King, who's still pretty cut up about the fact that he doomed his entire race to an existence of soulless servitude, all because he didn't know how to make sunscreen. He wants to make amends, aka he wants him and his people to return to their natural bodies, and once again be Necron tier. There's 2 issues with that. One, being a Necron tier sucks a lot, as they will re-enter a state of eternal skin cancer fueled suffering. Plus, just because you are now a salty little sausage instead of a piece of scrap metal, doesn't mean you just get your soul back. It's already been eaten by those stand fuckers. So unless they figure out how to milk those stand shards of their souls, then they're going to be in for a rough time. To achieve this, the Silent King is waging a silent war against the Tyranids, as despite the Tyranids not being too much of a threat to the Necrons, they are a threat to everyone's biomass. Biomass that the Necrons will need to rebuild their bodies. Hence the destruction of the space bugs of death is the first and main step towards Necron victory. The Silent King no longer controls all the Necrons anymore however, and many of them do not wish to lose their immortality and become cancer once again. These other Necron lords simply wish to continue their awakening and eventually destroy or enslave the entire galaxy. This leans more into the Necrons being generic villains, while the Silent King's version shows off another side to them. If there is one faction that has already won, it is the Orcs. They are in a galaxy full of war and battle, and that is all the Orcs want. They do not want to dominate the galaxy or achieve peace. No, their victory is already at hand. Everywhere they look, they have new and exciting enemies. They have new ways to prove themselves to Gork and Mork, and they have new ways to collect teeth. You could argue that the Orcs' victory would involve them reascending to Krorks, but they don't really mind. A Krork wants the same thing as an Orc, and they've already gotten it. Well done, Orc players, you've already won. Pat yourself on the back, you violent mushrooms. The Tyranids suffer the same issue as Chaos. If they did eventually dominate the galaxy and eat everything, then what? They just jerk off until they eventually starve to death? Or do they just leave and hope to find another galaxy they can devour? You know, the hive mind is painted as this hyper-intelligent god, yet it's allowed its victory conditions to result in its likely annihilation. It's the most adaptable faction in the galaxy, yet it can't seem to adapt to its own autism. Good one. The Squat's victory is just to be recognised in official canon. It seems they're getting ever closer to this, so yay for midgets. Are we gonna witness any of these outcomes before we die? Well, yes. We're seeing the Orcs' victory in action, and the Eldar Ynnari plotline existing shows potential. Games Workshop already yeeted away Warhammer Fantasy with an end time scenario. Despite that going to shit, it does show anything is possible. Here's an idea: if you really want to see a faction win, then stop buying or endorsing Games Workshop. Hell, pretend they molested you, then sue them. If they go under, they will probably write an ending to 40k. Pro Strategy by Majorkill. And that does us for today, guys, an insight into what each of the Warhammer 40k factions want to achieve. If you have anything to add or disagree at all, then throw it in the comments. I read all comments, so there you go. If you want to support the channel further and get access to a bunch of special art, as well as the music in this video, then jump on Patreon. If you want to chat some shit, then jump in with Discord with me. Cheers for watching. Peace.